Hello, dear friends. Here we are with the study of 30 Days of Inner Journey, Thought and Life is the book by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. This book was published in 1958 after being psychographed by the medium Chico Xavier. And for those who are getting to us firsthand right now, would like to share with you that this book, according to the introduction, is a book that exists in the spiritual realm with the same title, Thought and Life, and is studied in the schools of regeneration, meaning the people who are to reincarnate are given the opportunity to study it and prepare themselves for a new life in a much easier way. Yes, it is. So it's nothing new to us in the sense of maybe you have studied it and you don't recall. So it's important for us to really ask this question. If I have studied it, I am now reminding myself of these teachings. I can more clearly now follow through the pathway by following the rationale of the pathway that is pointed out by Emmanuel. Okay? Every time we meet here in these 30 days, we read a chapter because they're very thin, very short, but very condensed, very concentrated with knowledge and tools. Our reading of it and our interpretation has one main goal. According to Mentor Joseph, let us focus on the therapeutics, okay? We could study according to sciences, physics, and this and that, which is fantastic and it's worthwhile. But for these 30 days online, we are going to focus on the therapeutic tools for the inner journey, feeling the scriptures, okay? Before we begin, let's say hi to our community. Hello, Raquel. Much gratitude to your loving presence. Valéria, Jussara, and the loving smiley faces. Oh, Valéria and Melissa. Yes, it's sacred, Valeria. This is an opportunity for us to attune higher. Now we know, yesterday we studied association. As we think, we associate. What we're going to study today goes hand in hand with what Kardec reviews in the book Genesis. And also, we are going to see another book by the Spirit André Luiz through Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira, which was published in 1959, a year after this book was published, in which André Luiz studies the mechanisms of mediumship, but there are several chapters in which he discloses our thoughts associating with others. He talks about the law of the mental field. We attract what we emit, and we make associations. And as we make associations, we start receiving what others are thinking, right? We're never alone. And we're also susceptible to receive suggestions. It's what André Luiz talks about, as mental inductions. Too many words, Vanessa. Don't worry, we're gonna break it down together. Hello, Rihanna. In South Africa, very sunny. Good for you. Thank you for sending the sunlight our way too. Though, probably that's the reason why. Today was a beautiful sunny day here. Very unusual for winter time. Thank you, Rihanna. Hello, Angela. Yes, you found the book in Portuguese at Amazon, the Kindle too. That's great, Raquel. And Felipe. For those who want to read this book in English, just go to the page of the Spiritist Group of New York, SGNY, and hopefully they still have copies for you there. If not, talk to Jussara. She's gonna point to solutions. All right? All right. Ready? Today's title, Chapter 9. Day 9. Suggestion. Ooh, no, I'm joking. Suggestion. Emmanuel says, people usually refer to the phenomenon of mental suggestion as if it belonged solely to special clinics where hypnotists and their subjects go about performing quasi-miraculous acts. Grasset, the eminent neurologist of the Montpellier School, went so far as to classify suggestion into two categories: the hypnotic state that takes place during induced sleep, and the post-hypnotic state that acts after the subject's awakening. However, suggestion is actually an everyday event in the life of human beings and is a permanent activity of mental reflection. Magic, however, has been more diligently used to control occult forces. It is mainly the instrument of religious ceremonies on earth and consists of a combination of powerful mental forces of incarnate and discarnate beings who achieve the kind of feats that impress ordinary minds. Like electricity or explosives, steam or atomic energy, it is only and simply mental forces, neither good nor evil, whose effects will depend upon the use people make of it. We can see it at work on the altar of prayer and on the sacred symbols of religious services, spreading the seeds of virtue and progress into the hearts of people. But we can also see it in depressing situations, using barbaric rites and thereby attracting low psychic energies, leading to licentiousness and rebellion. Our emotions, as well as our thoughts and actions, are dynamic elements of an inductive nature. Each attitude we take in life polarizes forces in people who have a rapport with us. They feel impelled to imitate us, whether consciously or unconsciously. The reason is that the principle of repercussion rules our activities in life. The school is the home of initiation for souls who are beginning the task of intellectual polishing. It is simultaneously a center of conditioned reflexes for millions of spirits who reincarnate in order to take up again what they had acquired before in the area of the intellect. The various instructors who guide us in class and from the pulpit, through books and the press, help us stand face to face again with our psychic reality in the world. Our condition is determined by the emotional and cultural acquisitions from the past. Our present training will offer further education of our will and the right preparation for the greater life. Today, we are the heirs of the mental reflexes of our past experiences, with the means to change our direction toward true happiness. By helping someone else, we're emanating suggestions of help to us. By humbly enduring the difficulties of our regenerating path, we instill patience and solidarity towards everyone around us. If we help, we will be helped. If we hinder, we will be hindered. Through spontaneous suggestion, we are planting the reflexes of our individuality and collecting its reflexes in the individuality of others. This takes place as naturally as sowing seeds of wheat carrots, or potatoes in the world. Thus, we are responsible for our relations with positive forces or with the forces of disorder and evil. Breathing in and out, a lot of suggestions, right? A lot of food for thought and for feelings, and a lot of material for us to study. Before we chew upon these beautiful nourishments and acquire tools for inner strengthening, inner knowledge, and also progress, spiritual evolution, let us say hi to friends who just joined in here. Okay, shall we? Yes, here we are. Sunshine shining in California, and here with us, dear Francisca Kranz. Beautiful studies you and Mackenzie Mello are doing every Wednesday. Beautiful on the book Sex and Destiny. Hello, Liz Delia, my friend. And Aiden. Hello, Adilson. Anna. Hello, Anna. And Rita Di Cassia. Friends, let us recall, if you are entering first time now, this book, Thought and Life, begins by telling us that our minds are the mirror of our lives. Because as we think, we emit, and as we emit this mental electromagnetic force, which is our thought, we are naturally associating and connecting with mental currents that are alike, and receiving also like-minded forces, electromagnetic forces, that will change the way we feel, the way we do things in our lives. We're never alone. Our will is the supervisor and the manager, says Emmanuel, in our mind, our will. So if you say, who is the manager here for this person? The will of the person. The will. Let me talk to the manager. What's going on here? What are you doing? So the manager, the supervisor, is our will. And then we start learning the importance of cooperation, of learning to co-pilot with God first, and of course with the divine creatures of God, co-piloting, cooperating. And then we learn the importance of instruction, of education. Yesterday we were studying this beautiful chapter 8. We talked about the importance of work and association. Importance of how to really choose and select our thoughts. Remember when we learned from Emmanuel the department of our minds. We have the department of imagination, of desire, of intellect, of memory. But will is the one that gives direction to all of it. So we need to go to the coaching of the mind. Don't think you are alone in the fact that it's something new in a way. Why? You and I were not raised in an educational system at school or in our families to manage our thoughts. To date, we don't have such educational system in place. We don't. Indirectly we do. Spiritism comes to help us in that regard. Several different religions and philosophies, but we need to implement it ostensibly in our educational system at home and in our educational system in the schools, in organizations. Even now, when we talk about businesses, if you want your business to succeed, we need to be positive, think positively, and stimulate it in our employees too. How do we do it? Good question. If it were that simple, we would already, we would have figured that out a long time ago. But this book is giving us these beautiful ideas to be accomplished in the long run of the evolution of humanity on the earth. Okay? So today it's about suggestion. Talking about suggestions, suggestion. Well, if we know that as we think, we connect, we emit, and we attract, we better know where it all begins. Talking about where it all begins, suggestion. So he begins by saying that mental suggestion is not only when somebody, a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist comes and says, now you're gonna sleep. No, don't sleep. Now you're gonna feel joyful. And you are, keep it up, because that's what we want. Yes, yes we do. So, here we have it. Him saying that suggestion is an everyday event in the life of human beings and is a permanent activity of mental reflection. Stop for a moment and let us reflect on this. People talk about the law of attraction. It's very common in the new age or whatever name we give to it. People talk about the law of attraction, Jerry and Esther Hicks' book, and many others. It's not an invention of theirs, okay? And people talk about these books that have been bringing the idea that we think, we create. What the bleep do we know? And several others. Are they creating something new? No, they're just revealing a law of life. But Emmanuel is going to go much deeper. Because some people say, but Vanessa, I think positively every day, but my life keeps, the recurrences of issues and problems keep happening. So what's going on? I'm praying and I'm working and I'm reading the books and I'm helping people out. Look at Chico Xavier, the one that psychographed this book. If anybody looked at his life, even him physically, they would say, what? This is the man that is the instrument of these powerful messages. I cannot believe it. And there were people who actually thought like this. They look at Chico like, no, you can't be the one. And there was a guy in a bookstore in the capital of the state of Minas Gerais where Chico Xavier lived in. And when Chico Xavier stopped by at this bookstore, when this employee got to know Chico and said, I'm Chico Xavier, he didn't believe him. He said, no, no, no. You? No. No, no, no. He didn't believe. He said, yeah, maybe I'm not Chico Xavier. But that's true. It's about these daily creations. He says a permanent activity of mental reflection. What does that mean? What does that mean? Everyday event in our lives. Suggestion. What is he talking about? Suggestion is about a stimulus. In other words, scientifically speaking, a suggestion is a stimulus that triggers events. A stimulus. Okay? An inductor. In André Louis' words, an inductor. Meaning it triggers a cascade of events. And that's why he's saying a permanent activity of mental reflection. Suggestion that creates thoughts and thoughts that associate with others. They emit and they also magnetically attract like-minded thoughts. Question for us. What types of mental inductors, suggestions, most often happen to us in the current times of our lives? Can we recognize what it is? Are there specific ones, specific themes? Let's think about this. Hello, João Bosco, Karina, Sweet Studies Karina, Rudy, Spontaneous one more time, the lovely Yara Gouveia, whom we owe a great deal for giving birth and raising our dear brother, Fred Gouveia, Jonathan, hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Would you clap your hands? Chum, chum, chum. Just to make it a little lighter, friends, because this chapter is intense. Probably you'll be so surprised of the depth of this content that it's a must to change how we proceed in our lives. It's impossible to read this, study this, and not make changes. Hello, Marcio. You're welcome, Yara. Thank you. Friends, suggestions. What are the main suggestions, themes? Let me give an example. Let's say, okay, I'm gonna give you an example based in a book that we talked about yesterday, Sex and Destiny, which actually our dear friend Francisca Crans Mackenzie Mello are reading and studying, interpreting, and explaining every Wednesday at Kardec Radio. So, in that book, we see one of the main characters is Marita. And Marita, her constant thought is about, I need to be loved. I don't feel loved by my family. I need to get married and make a family of my own. But my sister did. So it's about loving and being loved. Feeling loved and approved and accepted. This is just her. But it's actually majority of people on earth. The bottom line of us all is, am I loved? Am I approved? What do I do with it? What are the main suggestions that are constantly coming to us? We need to observe to understand also who is in our spiritual network. It's like Facebook. You connect and connect with friends, and then you start following them naturally. And then some people, I remember a lady saying, how can I turn off this following? I befriend somebody and then I'm following them. I don't want to follow them, but that's life. I connect with people. I give my 50 cents and I receive theirs as well. Inevitably, it's impossible to do otherwise. Well, at least on Facebook you can turn that off. But you start seeing your news feed, what people are posting. The same for us in the currents of mental thoughts, or of the currents of our thoughts, the mental currents. We connect and we start receiving chum, 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 chum. Oh, but I don't like it. These are the suggestions that are coming to us daily. That's why people who have addictions in general, I'm not saying only addictions to illegal drugs or drugs. It could be addictions to slander, as we studied yesterday, to anger, when Emmanuel talked about the problems of habitual anger, leading us to madness and crimes. We also learn about the importance of observing these vices, these addictions that are moral, not only the physical, right? So here we have Emmanuel telling us, he now is going to make an analogy. He's saying to us, magic has been more diligently used to control occult forces. It is mainly the instrument of religious ceremonies on earth and consists of a combination of powerful mental forces of incarnate and discarnate beings who achieve the kind of feats that impress ordinary minds. I remember one day a lady came to our Spiritist Center and she told a friend of mine, "Oh, I'm a Catholic person. I come here and I see there's no gold, there's nobody dressed up in a different way. Like, I need those elements to actually feel myself in a sacred temple." That's exactly what Emmanuel is doing. He's telling us the external rites, the objects that make people feel old conditionings. How many people are like this? If we don't have the external, majority of people on earth. I know people who yesterday, they didn't have any power, any position anywhere. The minute they have, people look at the person differently. Even Spiritists. And they say, oh what? For example, the external, the suggestion, to the point that scientifically speaking, as the book is saying, Thought is Life, and the suggestions, when we study about the rules of patient management, there are many scientific studies that show that if you are the doctor, you will most likely, unconsciously, treat better patients who are well-dressed than patients who are not. And the reverse also happens. Patients will trust more the doctors who look in a particular way. If they have piercings, tattoos, etc., they're not as reliable to the patients as you want to be reliable. It's the external suggestions that trigger these mental reflexes, right? The question for us here is, what are the main recurrent suggestions that have been happening in our lives? Because when we enter obsessions, usually it's one single theme that repeats again and again and again and again and again. So we need to pay attention to it. Hello, dear friend Publio. Thank you, Rita. And Rita is saying we have to place the kingdom of God in our hearts through our actions, loving our neighbors in incessant path. Thank you, Rita. Hello, Marilda. Okay. Like electricity or explosives, steam or atomic energy, it is only and simply mental forces, neither good nor evil, whose effects will depend upon the use people make of it. For example, I come to you and show you this, a pen. It's neutral. But then, what are you going to make of it? What do you think when I show you a pen? It's neutral to me. I didn't mean anything. I just show it to you. But for you, you can give it direction. What is it? A pen to write? Oh, I have to start writing. A pen to sign a check, pay the bills. A pen for so many other reasons, right? So, that's exactly what he's saying. We can see it at work, on the altar of prayer, and on the sacred symbols of religious services, spreading the seeds of virtue and progress in the hearts of people. He's so right, and this is so impressive because it's 1958. And Dr. Andrew Newberg, when he was at Penn State University, years ago, he published firsthand a groundbreaking study showing how our brains process or are activated or deactivated according to religious related activities or God related things. For example, he shows that if you see an image that is sacred, it stimulates X areas of the brains, which usually are more primitive because they belong to the lower levels, images. But when we talk about introspection regarding God, meditation, and a prayer that is not spoken, higher cortical centers showing to us that these mechanisms are really ever more recent in the evolution of humanity. No wonder many people, if you ask them to pray without any formula, without any symbols, without being a church, they're lost, because for them it needs to be associated with the whole 9 yards of the external stimulation. But do you need it? Do you need a particular thing? Is there a problem if you do? No. Because there are days, especially when we're suffering a lot, we sometimes need those pre-formulated prayers. You know, when we talk about the Psalm of David, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, di-di-di, da-da-da, or the Lord's Prayer. For many of us, when we are undergoing critical times, those are the ones we need the most because they have a particular meaning for us. They trigger this feeling of faith, suggestion, and that's not a bad thing. The other day, somebody in Brazil was asking, Vanessa, we have this member in our Spiritist Center that likes to say the Lord's Prayer when she's asked to say a prayer. But that's a ritual. Well, maybe for you it's a ritual. But have you asked her? She's 80 years old. For her, the Lord's Prayer may mean a whole lot of things. Probably she has more feeling with the Lord's Prayer than with anything else. You know, when somebody asked Chico Xavier, what does he pray when he gives passes on somebody? Guess what? He prays the Lord's Prayer. When somebody asks, what is the length of the passes you give on people? And Chico said, the Lord's Prayer. And people think, oh, so short. But it depends on how you say and feel the Lord's Prayer. It can take, because Chico, he took his time. He really felt the scriptures. They were not mere words. So it's not about the words. Even if they are pre-formulated, it's about the feelings. What the words mean, the suggestion that they create as mental inductors, say André Luiz. These are myths that only Spiritism can debunk with the logics of its teachings. We respect, so much so that Allan Kardec, as a wonderful educator, in the Gospel According to Spiritism, he published this beautiful chapter, Collection of Prayers. Many Spiritists don't understand why. But of all the reasons, because there are often more than one, but one of the reasons is certainly to teach people the pathway. Kardec didn't mean like memorize these prayers and you'll be happier. No, no, no. Only without charity with charity there will be salvation. Without charity there will be no salvation. Meaning we're gonna find this inner light feeling by helping others selflessly. But if people feel by any chance like praying the formulas, if they feel it, so be it. Like at the very end of that chapter, prayer for the obsessor, prayer for the obsessed. When you're feeling the struggle of obsession, sometimes you can't put 2 plus 2. So we need that to really create. Some people say, I can't pray. Read it and read it out loud. So you feel it. So you give an opportunity for others also to listen to it. Let's not forget that the real life is of the Spirit. And when we read it out loud, we're giving everyone an opportunity to listen and to learn with us, not only ourselves, because spirits of lower order cannot read our minds. They can feel what we feel, but not necessarily know what we're thinking. Not necessarily. Some do, others don't. Okay? Only higher spirits can enter this field of our minds and know exactly what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're planning. Bad spirits can do too, but not all of them. And forgive me for saying bad spirits. It could be spirits that are not too evolved, okay? But the reference is up in the air because it depends on the reference. We're talking about spirits who already embrace the goodness versus those who are stumbling and are still in the heaviness of the material life, okay? And as Valeria is saying, the one and only prayer taught by Jesus, taught by, it is our Lord's Prayer, right? And it's okay. As Melissa is saying, sometimes I feel very inspired to pray from my heart. Sometimes I need some inspiration. Sometimes Psalms come to my mind. And why not? Right, Melissa? Now we're learning. It doesn't matter as long as we feel it. As long as they are not mere words. Some parents say, but I want my children to learn to pray. You know, children are funny. You know, I have a video of Virginia praying spontaneously. She was 1. But sometimes I say, Virginia, let's pray. And she's funny. She just pretends she's not praying, etc. And my mom said, Vanessa, you were like that. You were fun. You also wanted to laugh during the prayers. I had 4 brothers, so I had to put some lightness to the testosterone around. But really, the children, will absorb what we're teaching them. If we're reverent during prayer, they will learn reverence. If we're not reverent, we will not. So it depends. We become the source of stimulus. We become the source of suggestion. Our example more than our words, right? But he brings here something quite interesting. He says, our emotions, as well as our thoughts and actions, are dynamic elements of an inductive nature. Are you surprised now to see how often the Spiritist books refer to the importance of paying attention to our emotions? But don't be surprised, because you are at the right time to observe it. You observe chapter after chapter of this book, André Luiz books, and many other Spiritist books, the reference. Pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention to your emotions and your thoughts and your actions. They become dynamic elements of an inductive nature. So that's why there's no neutrality. We need to know what we're feeling. What are you feeling now? That's the first question we ask. Breathe in and out. Name it. It's important to name it. Vanessa, no, it's important to name it. Once you name it, you can tame it. You can manage it. You can change it. You cannot, for example, enter a house and say, I'm going to remodel the house without looking at the details of it. It's impossible. The same for us. I can only change if I know what's happening inside of me. What is it that I'm feeling? What is it? Then I can change it. So there is an actual dictionary of emotions that was created and published by a psychologist in California. I met her in 2009 in the Convention Center in New York in a book fair, an international book fair. And since then, it transformed our lives and the lives of many people whom I know of, because this dictionary of emotions can really help us understand more of ourselves. You can go to harnessinghappiness.com or Google onion head, cabeça de cebola, onion head.com, and it's gonna redirect to the website where you can see the dictionary of emotions. It's important to learn about emotions and also teach our children. Teach them. Teach our friends. When we do fraternal counseling, telling the people, you know the name of emotion you're feeling? This is the name. Oh, I didn't realize I was feeling this. There you go. Now you know it. So now you have one more tool to work with. What is the root cause of this? What is triggering it? And we're vibrating these emotions. Okay? It's very important. They become inductive in nature. So we can't simply feel things. The other day, somebody whom I know was feeling challenged by a situation, and this person started feeling this lack of emotional support. But when we are not conscious about it, it goes to the body. It somatizes. The next day, the person woke up in the morning feeling a back pain on the upper level. And it was so painful, out of the blue. But this person came to me and said, Vanessa, believe it or not, I had a book that talks about the psychosomatics, how emotions and thoughts lead us into this somatization in the physical body. And I read upper back pain, feeling lack of emotional support. Unbelievable. So what was the affirmation that the person needed to do to change it? She said, from there on, I start telling myself, I love and approve of myself. Life supports and love me. And I kept affirming. And then my pain was like decreasing. So we need to pay close attention to what we're feeling, because it also creates vibrations that are going to create somatizations in our physical body. Impressive, huh? You know the book that she read? And I have it too. Louise Hay's book. It's You Can Heal Your Life. Okay? You can heal your life. And there's a list that now the scientific medicine is studying. The study that she made and the research and validating it. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. And it goes hand in hand with what Emmanuel is telling us. And Louise Hay's approach goes hand in hand with what we're learning in these books. And it's telling us that this truth is universal, as Kardec said. It doesn't belong to us. It's a law of life. Scientists who unveiled the force of gravity do not have any copyright on gravity. They don't. Gravity belongs to the universe. And I mean, to everybody. The same for this knowledge we're studying here. Emmanuel is revealing to us, but the copyright of the laws of life, as he's saying, is not Spiritism. It doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to Emmanuel, to Kardec. The book, the compilation of ideas, yes. But the knowledge in itself is universal. And it's going to come out through other ones, sooner or later, as Kardec said in the Museum's book. It doesn't belong to us. So go read the book. Don't be shy. Buy the book. You can heal your life, and you can heal your life. Okay? by Louise Hay. She has a beautiful publisher, hayhouse.com. She has Divaldo Franco. She's the same age as Divaldo Franco, missionaries on the earth that are doing fantastic work. And you can help a lot yourself and others by seeing how it matches and how we can incorporate these affirmations that are already being proved by science. But the Spiritist science has already told us, like way before everything was published here. Okay? All of us are externalizing mental energy in subtle forms. You and I are right now externalizing mental energy in subtle forms that act upon our fellow beings, and we are all affected by these same forms coming from the minds of others. Responsibility. 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 Thank you, Melissa. You can hear live by Louise Hay. Free audio if you download. Thank you. And Patricia is reminding us. Louise Hay says the diseases are caused either by fear or anger. Yeah, no wonder yesterday when we're studying association, Emmanuel saying, tame anger, tame your emotions, right? Thank you, friends. You see, right here now, we are showing what Emmanuel is telling us. You're externalizing your mental energies, and it's affecting people, and people are externalizing mental energies and are affecting us. That's the law of life. That's how we are really progressing. So we need to ask, am I therapeutic moment? He's saying we're responsible for what we're causing to others, friends. Thank you, Adilson. The spirits are phenomenal. They really are reveal groundbreaking information. But friends, question for all of us. Are we polluting the field, the mental field of others? Or are we being kind and gentle to them? How are you feeling? How is that affecting others? Don't think that by thinking whatever you like, whatever you're feeling is just you. No, no. Right now we know that as we think, we are affecting other people. As we feel, we're affecting other people. Not only the words, not only the actions, but thoughts and feelings. Scale 0 to 10. Shall we? 0 to 10, blinking. You know, can you imagine the line blinking? I can imagine like in many years when we have this more resources, not only to show the video, let Mark Zuckerberg know of this idea, but we can have this interaction when we can draw while we're here, blinking, and we can see this line. 0 to 10, 0 to 10, 0 and 10 of what? How much do you think you are helping people with your thoughts and feelings? 0 being not helping at all, and 10 average about your current moment, okay? How much do you think? You don't need to tell me because I'm not judging, but let's think. How much? 5, 1, 9. Let's think. How much are we contributing to people's wellness? Depending on our thought forms, the production of our thoughts and feelings. Hello, Binhão, and hello, Osvaldo. Okay? Each attitude we take in life polarizes forces in people who have a rapport with us. They feel impelled to imitate us, whether consciously or unconsciously. Responsibility. It's responsibility. The bottom line of this chapter is take charge of your thoughts and your feelings because it's affecting people. They are impelled to imitate us. It's striking when I get to know that only after, in the beginning of the 21st century, it was the beginning of the 21st century when science actually got to know that we have a physiology prone to imitate people through the mirror neurons. In 1958, this book was written and Emmanuel was reporting to us. People feel impelled to imitate us, whether consciously or unconsciously. Look at children. We see that clearly. Look at teenagers. We see that clearly. Adults, we mask it. But deep inside, we want to do the same. The same that we're attracted to, right? Responsibility. If we just knew, we would be so much more careful, but not only with what we say or do, but with what we think and feel. But don't put pressure on you. Relax. Breathe, because you need to breathe. Don't constrict, feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing? Hold on. No guilt, no shame, self-compassion. You're learning, I'm learning. Take it easy. What is past is past. Now we can change it. And even if we stumble, we stand up again and say it's okay. I'm going to put myself in a coaching program like Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin, the adorable founding father who is also a spirit to spirit. He taught us about this program of the 13 virtues. Select a few things that you want to focus upon. Suggestions, mental inductions you want to focus, and keep working on it. Sing. Singing is a beautiful way to stick to your mind and to your heart. Read it. Tell yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror with compassion, with kindness. Vanessa, I can't. But look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a child of God. And sing. I'm going to sing. Of course I am. I am not going to be shy. There is a spirit to spirit. Through the team of May May that once brought this beautiful song to the Spiritist out of Baltimore at a mediumistic meeting. The medium was Alba Morales. And then Steve Shepard and Selenia Shepard recorded it. Beautiful. I am a child of God. Look at yourself in the mirror and sing. I am a child of God. I reincarnated to learn to do good. Reincarnation, the path of progress. Reincarnation, the opportunity. Reincarnation, the way to become good, to achieve true happiness. And then we feel it. Feel it. I am a child of God. I am here to progress. I'm gonna make it. Why not? Why not? We need these tools. Or like Mentor Joseph suggested one day, when we are driving and there's traffic and Virginia's in the car and children need your help, like to learn also. So we sing to people who are in other cars, because Mentor Joseph, Vanessa, use your mind, not only your body. and teach Virginia to do the same. So I said, Virginia, who is in the car? It's a man or a woman, a child or a dog? Let's sing for them. Oh, it's a man, it's a woman. Yeah, and then we sing. 'Cause you are light and you are love and you are joy of living. Of course, I sing to her, with her in Portuguese, but it's pretty much towards those lines. And we keep singing as a way also for us to feel it. I am love, I'm light, I'm peace, I'm joy of living. I am joy of living. And I keep affirming it to myself, and I have no doubt that I am and that you are, because we're children of God. That's it. Right? Yes, let's sing. Hello, Marco. Yeah, Melissa, que encanta os males e espanta. And laugh too, right? Be light, joyful. We don't need to be tense, like I'm gonna learn. And talking about it, the reason is that the principle of repercussion rules our activities in life. That's very important. What we create. Kardec in the book Genesis talks about fluids, energies, fluids, and he talks about spiritual fluids. He says that our will, like hands, is going to use this elementary matter, the universal cosmic fluid, create thought forms, okay? And depending on the quality, the intensity, they are going to impregnate everything around us, and our perispirit may absorb it. So whatever I'm feeling, it has life in itself. It has activity. It's an electromagnetic force. It is emitted and it's attracting, and we're influencing one another. The law of repercussion. I cannot think that I'm thinking without consequences. My thoughts have consequences. Your thoughts have consequences. Before something beautiful happens, people incarnated and discarnated together have... Yes, friends, for some reason we were interrupted. So here we are. We are here studying this part that talks about how I emit and I attract. I emit and I attract. Okay? I emit and I attract. So I'm sending a ball of love and it's going to come back. So if your life is intense and is difficult, Emmanuel is saying, we are today the heirs of mental reflexes of our past. So, which means that right now, all we can do is to plant new seeds. And by helping someone, we're emanating suggestions of help to us. By enduring difficulties with patience, we are instilling patience and solidarity towards everyone around us. What a revelation. Enduring difficulties of our regenerating path, we're instilling patience and solidarity. And if we help, we'll be helped. If we hinder, we'll be hindered. Yes, St. Francis' prayer, right? Lord, make me your instrument. Yes. And shall we love to be loved, right? Forgive to be forgiven, right? Yes. So through spontaneous suggestion, we're planting the reflexes of our individuality and collecting its reflexes in the individuality of others. This takes place as naturally as sowing seeds of wheat, carrots, or potatoes in the world. We love Emmanuel because he's saying, look, as much as you plant carrots, wheat, and potatoes, you're planting thoughts and feelings, and they're gonna grow. Are you ready for them? Yesterday we talked about slander. If we plant slander, and people often on the earth, they slander and they don't recognize that they're slandering. They're just saying, but I'm just saying. It's just a comment. But slander is slander, and consequences exist. As Emmanuel said in the chapter yesterday, when we dwell on the defects of others, we absorb those depressing images that are going to be absorbed by our spiritual body, and they are going to be affecting our health, whether incarnated or discarnated, creating susceptibility to diseases. So we really need to pay attention. And of all things, he said, slander and anger. Of all things. Of all things. No wonder André Luiz, in his books, he shares with us, knowing the human mind on the earth at our level, that when we're talking to somebody for more than 5 minutes, we take the risk of entering this field of slander. Very risky. So let's pay attention. We're talking to people. Let's not fall in the trap of talking about others. Not dwelling on the defects of others, as Emmanuel said. Right? So he's saying, as we, spontaneous suggestion, through spontaneous suggestion, we're planting the reflexes of our individuality. So André Luiz says mental inductors. A book is a mental inductor. And we're planting seeds right now. What kinds of seeds are we planting together? Emmanuel planted it, and we're now eating through it, nourishing ourselves. And we're also planting new thoughts in our minds, new feelings, the certainty that it's worthwhile, persisting in thinking positively, persisting in thinking beautifully, harmoniously about us and everybody and the world, and visualizing it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Probably it's easier to plant a plantation on the soil of the earth. But we need to get used to it. Now consciously. What am I thinking? It's not worthwhile to continue if it's not positive. Let's not dwell on the defects of others. People made a mistake. What did Jesus do? People don't welcome us. We say, okay. Let it be. Let the person be. They have the right to be like this. But we continue our path. We don't need to be there dwelling on the issues. As much as we hope people don't dwell on our defects either. We hope they are free from our defects, that they don't absorb the depressing images that we may be emitting or we have emitted. So that's why we need to work and work and work and work positively to counterbalance and plant new seeds that we're going to harvest tomorrow. Okay? Finally, he wraps up saying, we're responsible for our relationships with positive forces or with the forces of disorder and evil. Question to all of us: are we bringing the positive forces to our relationships or disorder and evil? When we see it around, don't dwell on the defects of the president-elect. Let's pray for them. For everybody. Pray, 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 pray. If we dwell saying, oh my God, we are going to to join in, to add more disorder and evil. Let's pray. Let's add a counterbalance, visualizing. Let's wrap up visualizing this for the sake of this nation and the whole world. Let us visualize Donald Trump being enveloped by light, by love, and a beautiful voice of Jesus telling him, you are light, you are love, you are peace, your joy of living. Let us visualize it. Let us visualize it and be responsible for our relationships with positive forces. Friends, tomorrow, hopefully today, because it's already January 13th, 2017, at 11 p.m., God willing and providing, we'll be here studying chapter 10, a third of the book being covered, and it's all about understanding. The first third of the book is wrapped up with a chapter that is titled Understanding. What does it do? Just as a teaser, you want a teaser? Teaser. All of us receive inspiration for the future from our Celestial Father, and all of us suffer the repercussions of the past upon our lives. This is just one. Let's wait and see. Big hug of gratitude. Let us keep working together, studying together, and entering in this beautiful, constructive mental current of the illuminated spirits. And until later, enjoy your day.